I
Okay.
thought I had my camera fixed. It's still not working properly, but I am here.
Okay. We see you, Miss Cooper. Not you, but we see your box, so we're good with that.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Okay, it is 2:05 and we are going to start. We're so glad that you have joined the 360-degree volunteer engagement idea exchange for the month of April. I do have some news to report. Um, Helen Mack, otherwise known as Mac,
Mhm.
is suddenly having to have some medical procedures. So she is not going to be able to join us today.
Oh.
Okay. But because of the volunteer that she is, as most of us are, conscientious and whatever, we have materials and information that we're going to share on the topic and that she would have done had she been here. We're wishing her everything to come out the best. It's one of those situations where until the last minute, she didn't know she was not going to be able to come. So, Dr. Clark, would you like to start with your first effort?
Yes, and welcome everyone. And thank you for spending this time of the day with us. Deborah, your voice is still a little soft, they say. So
Okay.
maybe the volume, we'll have you adjust your volume and we'll have others adjust their volume as well. That might be something that will help. And I hope my voice is okay. I'm going to adjust my volume as well. Um, Today is about care, self-care, not only for our volunteers, but for our staff. So we did a little adjusting because Mac wasn't able to be here. And we're going to start out with a word cloud, and I'll put that information, share it in a minute. You can do one of two things. If you're easily able to go to another screen, um, you can go to menti.com, or in a minute, I'm going to show a screen that'll have a QR code. If you want to just take your phone and do what I'm going to do on the QR code on your phone, you can do that too. So you have a couple of options to participate in this one word, one sentence activity. We want to know how everybody's feeling. Life is challenging sometimes. And I know for me, I'm in my own little bubble here in my corner of the world. And sometimes I stay there. I paint, um, I write, um, I watch Hallmark TV. Um, I do Netflix, whatever it is that provides me with a little self-care. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on today is self-care, not only for um, ourselves as volunteer and staff, so that we can show up with our full face and our full selves to do the work that we're charged to do, but so that we can just be healthy and whole. Um, we can not only do Ethel's work, but we can do the work that our family requires us and relies on us to do. And we can do the things that make us feel good. So that's what today is all about. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share this Mentimeter with you. And can you see it?
Mhm.
So
Yes,
you can
ma'am.
either go to the QR code and scan that in and just put one word that describes how you're feeling right now. So I want you to kind of focus on this moment right now for the next 40 minutes. Suspend everything that's going on outside of your world and feel what you're feeling right now. And I see overwhelmed. I was feeling a little bit of that too. Um, the larger the word, the more people are using that word. So you can kind of see that overwhelmed is something that more than one person is feeling. There's some people that are feeling calm and serene, busy and slurpy. Uh, maybe that was sleepy, but maybe it was slurpy. Who knows? But just focus on how you're feeling right now. And you can go back and put another word if you want to. You can respond as many times as you want. We just want to know how you're feeling. I'm grateful too. I am really grateful to be able to feel, whether it is the good or the bad. I'll give you another, I don't know, 30 seconds to just respond.
Sleepy. It looks like we've got a couple of words that are really chosen by a lot of people.
Yeah, we are grateful, we're overwhelmed, we're excited, we're energized,
Mhm.
we're ready, we're at peace. Some of the greens are blending in with that beautiful background, grounded, satisfied,
Okay.
curious, thankful.
All
All of
right.
these are wonderful ways to feel. And I appreciate each and every one of you for sharing your feelings with us. We can come back to this, but for right
Okay.
now, let me see. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else? I'll close it out.
All right. And then it's going to be my turn. Oh, to share. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Um, as you know, let's see. So I can make sure I can get this up here. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It says that people can see my screen. I'm going to try to make it as big as I possibly can. Okay. And then perhaps you can make your screen appropriate as well. What Helen Mack, otherwise known as Mac, did, she prepared something called a whole person well-being for volunteers. It is a checklist, and it is something that you can do on your own, as well as with your team or however you wish to manage it. But the point is, and I'm going to go to the bottom of it here really quick. I hope you get a piece of paper and a pencil, because what this checklist is asking you to do when we get to the end of it is to think in terms of your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, social situation, physical, spiritual, and environmental, and rate those in terms of, if you write a 1, it needs some attention, something you need to work on. If it's a 5, you're feeling strong and ready to look at some of the additional areas. And then there's also a plan on this where you can think about one small action you'd like to take this week to work on something that is not where you think it should be. And the reason we're doing all of this is, as Max says, your well-being is essential to the well-being of the community you serve. So that caring for yourself is part of caring for others. Now, I've put this in the chat. I also will make it available in the volunteer portal. And I'm sure there'll be some times that we'll find a way to send this out to you to make sure that you've got this. But I wanted you to see what she spent some time thinking about. First off, we've got mental well-being, what it means. clarity, focus, manageable stress levels, which is a challenge for some of us. I know if I'm looking at my watch, my computer watch right now, my stress level is going probably up higher than it should be. But supportive practices are those things that you can do to help improve your well-being or manage your stress. Things like taking short pauses, breaking big tasks into smaller steps, setting realistic expectations for ourselves. We can't be perfect. I'm not, but I have to tell myself that all the time. Ask for clarification when roles or tasks feel unclear, okay? Emotional well-being, what it means is feeling steady, acknowledged, and able to process emotions. One of the great things that I found about AARP, and I hope this has been your experience, is that I always feel acknowledged in my volunteer work. There's always someone around, whether it's a peer or a staff person, to say, great job, or even if it wasn't the best job, it's let's improve on that and learn from it. So supportive practices, notice signs of compassion fatigue, name emotions without judgment. You
And this
get
video
upset
I'll
with
tell
something?
you read my page. Just bear with me while I share my screen.
Oh, Miss Lori? Okay. Share feelings with a trusted peer, volunteer, supervisor, whomever you're working with, and celebrate small wins and moments of impact. I know we try to recognize people all the time for the things that they accomplish, but sometimes even that small thing of just getting through the day is that small win we've got to recognize. Social well-being, what it means in this context is feeling connected, valued, and part of a community. All of you people, wonderful folks, have come to this meeting to talk about, and we're going to talk even more about that later, mental resilience and well-being for volunteers. Supportive practices, build relationships with fellow volunteers, participate in team check-ins or debriefs, offer and receive appreciation. I found it's really, really helpful and something I didn't do very often. I see someone who's dressed in something that's really lovely on them, and I used to just walk by it in my head and say, wow, that was really lovely. That person really looked good. I've gotten to the point now where I can actually, I'm comfortable just going to that person and saying, I love your outfit. It's beautiful. You look beautiful today. Congratulations. Ask for help when needed. Connection with other people is strength. It's not weakness. 4 is physical well-being. What it means is caring for your body's energy, safety, and comfort. And that means supportive practices. You take advantage of hydration. You take stretch breaks. My watch tells me I should get up. I've learned to punch the button and shut it down. I need to get up when it tells me to get up. Use proper body mechanics during physical tasks. Pace yourself during long shifts. Rest when your body signals fatigue. Spiritual well-being, we're coming close to the end here. What it means is feeling aligned with purpose, values, and meaning. Our supportive practices are reflect on why you serve. Sometimes we get away from why we joined AARP and why we stay as volunteers after all of these many years. But reflecting on that is supportive to our health. Notice moments of gratitude or connection. We had a chance to even think about that during Dr. Mary's exercise. Spend a few minutes in nature or quiet. Reconnect with the mission when feeling drained. And then finally, environmental well-being. And what it means is feeling safe, supported, and equipped in your volunteer setting. Supportive practices including ask for needed tools, supplies, or information. Advocate for safe, accessible spaces. Create predictable routines where possible, and share feedback that improves the volunteer experience. These are all ways that we can improve our environment and improve our experience as AARP volunteers. That gets us to the checklist. And again, you can take off a copy of this document that is in the chat. You can write it on a piece of paper right now, where you are on 1 through 1 needs attention, 5, you're feeling strong, and what areas you need to work on. But one small action is something you might do this week, but don't try to do, as some of us might want to, every single thing and improve it all right now. The point is recognizing where we are and dealing with it in a positive, supportive way. Okay, any questions about this checklist that Helen Mack provided for us today?
I do have a question, and I need help in determining what category it falls under. Okay.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
okay, so because what I find myself doing is I'll come in my office 10:30 doing stuff for ARP. 6 o'clock, I am still in my office doing things for ARP. So my thing is in terms of finding that balance, because what I found, especially as it relates to the spiritual aspect,
Mhm.
is that I will spend more time preparing for something for ARP than my Bible studies or, things like that. So I need to somehow reprioritize the importance, but because of my love for what I'm doing, I'm finding it difficult to do. Okay. So I just need, when I'm looking at the scale here, how in the
Mhm.
world do you quantify that or figure out a way to change it?
Well,
Um,
is someone else going to answer? Yeah.
I can step in because I
Okay.
think I'm feeling a little bit of what Lori's feeling. And anytime something that I'm volunteering for, Lori,
Mhm.
repeat after me,
Uh-huh.
volunteer.
Volunteer.
Yes, okay. So anytime that I'm doing something that feels like employment,
Mhm.
I take note of that.
Okay.
Because there's a certain feeling that I feel when I'm under the guidelines of employment that are different than when I'm under the guidelines of volunteering.
Mhm.
Volunteer brings me joy. That's the equation that I have in my mind. On
Mhm.
this side is volunteer, there's an equal sign, and on this side is joy. When that equation no longer says equal in the middle and there's something else or I'm feeling something else, I need to put it down and step away because I'm muddling things. I'm getting confused about my role. That's
Mhm.
that's how I handle it. And sometimes I have to step really way back because I don't want my attitude. I don't want the reputation that I've built and worked hard to build to represent an organization that I feel truly committed to. I want
Mhm.
nothing to mess that up.
Mhm.
And if I'm not thinking clear about why I'm doing what I'm doing, I also find myself getting a little bit irritable.
Okay.
And irritability is not in that equation of
Mhm.
volunteering equals joy for me. And so sometimes that's why it's important to be in the moment. And that's why I ask all of you when you put those words on the word cloud to be in the moment.
Mhm.
And I think many times we're so accustomed to being on that treadmill of doing the things that we're good at, we believe in, we want to do all of those things, but we are so overwhelmed and on that little hamster wheel of, getting it done, getting it done, getting it done, that we
Mhm.
forget about we're only human. We are
Mhm.
only human. And sometimes, even in our volunteer role, you have to just step away for a little while. And that might just be getting up out of your chair because you've
Mhm.
been sitting there from 10 to 6. I think you've given enough for that day.
Mhm.
Getting up, closing the door, or walking out of that room and doing something that makes you feel good about being Lori, period. No guilt.
Lori says that she loves what she's doing, so I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that's probably hard for her to say, it's not giving me joy. What about,
Mhm.
can you set a timer for yourself and just say, I'm going to give it 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, but 10 to 6 is a whole day. Like, can
Yeah.
you set a goal for yourself in terms of this is how much time I'm going to spend today doing this? I have other things in my life that bring me joy as well, and I need to make time and focus on those as well.
Mhm.
Just a suggestion. I don't know whether it will help or not.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
That's what I do, Terry. I give everything some time and I go, this is how much time I'm going to spend on this. And I also, at the end of the day, I say at 6 o'clock, my computer is going off. I don't care who calls, what's happening, because I got to think about, you have to start thinking about yourself, your mental state, how you're feeling emotionally, because even though it brings you joy, at the
Mhm.
same time, you might be going through other emotional facts because you're still there working on what you're doing.
Mhm.
So those are little things that I do.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you both, Migdalia and Terry. And I see, Joe, you have your hand up.
Yes.
I've also found that it's helpful for me with volunteering, like today. I really want to get my nails done. And today isn't even my day to volunteer. And I really wanted to come to this training. Um, so, what I will do is I will kind of force myself to set that appointment for my nails or go to the doctor or whatever that is, and or just time to do your spiritual reading and
Mhm.
put it in my calendar. So the reminder comes up and tells me, shut this down for a little while
Mhm.
and do something else and just step away for an hour. And then you can come back. Because I know for me, volunteering, sometimes I get hooked into another project at the very end of the day. And then it's 5 o'clock and my husband says, do you want me to feed the dogs? And I'm like, whoops, missed feeding the animals. So it can happen at the end of the day. So that's what I've done. I've just kind of plugged those things in during the day when I know I do usually have a free hour during the day instead of knowing that I can't always get off at night when I want to, like right at 4, even though my hours are 10 to 4, 2 days a week. That doesn't always work as much as you'd like it to.
So Joe said something that made me think, do you use a calendar, a digital calendar or electronic calendar like in your phone?
Yes, yes, I do. But the thing is, I guess based on the fact that I'm a trainer and I'm trying to accommodate schedules because like even like on Monday, the class started at 6, and I've been in meetings all day. So I'm trying to find that balance. Um, because like I said, I do love it, but I just got to find the balance where it's just not taking up most of my life more, and not being where I need to be in other aspects of my life. So I just need some help in finding balance with that. And everything that you've offered, I'm going to take it under consideration and just reevaluate my approach. And I thank all of you for that. I know, Deborah, you had something you were going to say, and
Oh, well, the only thing I was going to say is I put
uh,
another piece, there's always more paper and materials and things, and produced something called Supporting Volunteer Well-Being. And it tried to address some of the questions that we were going to deal with today. And one of those questions has to do with something with what you said. And the first thing that was suggested in it was about saying, I'm unavailable after 7 p.m., but I'll respond tomorrow. Okay. So, what you're saying about your class starts at 6 o'clock in the evening, you've got to back up the time in the morning. You can't work starting at 9 o'clock. You got to start at noon, so that you've got some free time built in there. But, for anyone, this document is also going to be available in the it's in the chat now. It'll be on the portal. We'll send it to you as well to go along with that. And it's got lots of suggestions and things to help us deal with these questions. Okay.
Deborah, I just want to go to the chat to what Ellen said also about learning how to say no is one of the hardest but most important things we need to do and learn, and sometimes even saying no to ourselves.
Right.
No, I don't need to do that right now. Gigi said it's a natural thing for you to love, to do the thing that you love, to overpower your time and energy because it's filling your cup. However, a weekly check-in with yourself to see if you are balancing properly is necessary also. And yes, Lori, we thank you for giving an example, a real life example, because many of us are probably feeling the same way, loving something, but just kind of getting sucked in and not being able to find that balance. A quote that kind of rose up to me to respond to that by Anna Quindlen is, the thing that's really hard and really amazing is giving up on being perfect and begin the work on becoming yourself. That's what Anna Quindlen said. And sometimes as we're doing that mental resilience or trying to find that place where we can go back and be resilient and re-energize, we have to be easy on ourselves and give us grace. I think that was one of the words that several of you used in the word cloud. If there's no other explanation, just give yourself grace. You don't have to do everything all at once right now for everybody, because being humans, at some point, our bodies will take over and it'll shut us down. So how do we remain mentally resilient? How do we maintain our well-being? You have all given some really great suggestions. And one of the questions that I want to pose to the group is, when you're working on a team, whether it be your staff partner or volunteers, how do you proactively identify signs of fatigue or overload? And what do you do to help alleviate that? It's a mouthful, but that's something that we need to be aware of, because sometimes if we don't, people will just disappear as volunteers. Staff, I know you can't disappear. And I know that staff have employee assistance programs and they have, all those resources. But what do you proactively do to identify the signs of fatigue and overload? And what kind of things have you been successful at in accomplishing? If you want to share, we'd love to hear.
You're talking about recognize fatigue and overload in others, or also in yourself?
Either or, yes.
Sometimes it's easier to recognize it in others than not yourself.
And so, because I know we are in the process of wanting to either retain or recruit more volunteers, we have to be mindful of the type of things that our volunteers are doing, because sometimes it is almost as much as a full-time job. And so what do we need to do to keep an eye on our volunteers not being fatigued or overloaded? And again, our staff partners too, we
Mhm.
have to make sure that we let them know that they can let go of some stuff and let volunteers do it so that
Mm.
they're not overloaded or
That's
fatigued.
true.
Any examples anyone want to share? Gigi said regular check-ins with volunteers. What does that look like?
For me, I do a wellness check-in every month. So I will call volunteers and check in to see how they're doing, and I call it a wellness check-in. Be it whether it's the volunteers that I know are dealing with a health issue at the particular time, or whether it's those that are active and are, don't have any mobility issues or anything.
Thank you, Gigi. And I know I've seen on some state Facebook pages or some volunteer Facebook pages that sometimes they just have like a luncheon, a get together. It's not a community event, it's a volunteer event. Just maybe once a year, once a quarter, once a 6 months. I see those activities that take place. And certainly we can take a page from the Ethels book. We know that the Ethels meet regularly all
Mm.
over the US and do things that connect them. But that's the purpose of the Ethels, is to socially connect. But we can learn something from what the Ethels are doing, because that also energizes them in their lives. Anybody else want to share anything?
So I just want to say, like last year, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years, and last year we finally did it. We don't normally have a meeting in the month of July, and we had always talked about having like volunteer picnic. Well, last year we had the volunteer picnic, and it wasn't labeled as a AARP event. It was the volunteers. We had a small little committee. You bring this, I'll bring that. Everybody brought their own lunch. So you didn't have to worry about dietary restrictions or whatever. Someone brought games. And I got an okay from the local Parks and Rec. And I want you to know that everybody loved it, because it was just so nice to get together and talk to everybody and not have to have a single ounce of responsibility. So I really think I always try to go out to lunch every once in a while with the volunteers to get to know them or whatever. But I have to tell you, that one thing was just the greatest thing in the world. Just a suggestion.
And a great suggestion, Mary. Thanks so much for sharing. Pamela, I see your hand up.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, during COVID, and I was an essential worker, so there were times, and I was a manager, that we had to work from home, and it would be 7 o'clock, and I would still be working. I want to let you know that doing that, my anxiety just went through the roof. And I thought, you know what? Maybe just staying home is driving me to do this. But getting back to work or getting to a place like, say, like a McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, because they throw you out after a while, so you have to leave at 4 o'clock or you have to leave at 5 o'clock. I just think that that's a good way to do it now that I'm well, better. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Darren put something in the chat. Darren, would you like to elaborate a little bit on what you are going to do?
Yeah, so this year, when I'm new to this job. I've been in the job less than a year, but I've been working with volunteers my entire life. And so a lot of my joy and satisfaction is going out and talking with them. But one of the things that I always noticed is if I was there and I was happy and people weren't, I would always, as a staff member, try to take some burden off the other volunteer to help them so they could relax or go do other things. But in Georgia, if you're there at 6 o'clock, you get there at 10 and your class starts at 6. If that's a little bit overwhelming, I would say, because I'm surprised the staff members hadn't said something to you about that too. Because if they're happy and having a good time and they get up and walk out the door and you're stressed and you're still sitting there at 6 o'clock, that's where that staff member also needs to come and have a conversation with you too, to reassure you that it's okay to wait and get things done on a different day. But what we're doing here is we're going to focus on more appreciation for our volunteers. So we have two parties, we have two key communities where we have the bulk of our volunteers, and we're using staff funds this year. So we're going to a park that has a as kind of like a pet zoo. It's called Wheeler Farm, and we're going to have them bring them and their families and friends who are interested in becoming volunteers and just coming for an afternoon at the park and having some hot dogs or something like that and let them enjoy that. We partnered it up at the same time as the planetarium in our state was doing a free event at that particular place too. So the grandkids can go come and do planetarium stuff as their grandkids while we're just having a good celebration. We're doing that in our other community at a botanical garden. So people can go around and enjoy the flowers and just spend time with each other because we have so many different groups doing so many different things. They don't interact with the other groups like staff does. And I want to change that.
And I just want to make something clear. What I'm experiencing is self-imposed. And because I have a wonderful relationship with my staff partners, and it's in my quest to work with the Portal Champions and accommodate their schedules, that this is something I've independently agreed to do to accommodate those schedules so that they can work and still get trained as Portal Champions. And I did not confer with staff. So what you're helping me to understand now is that maybe I need to confer with staff a little more,
Yes.
before I commit to these sorts of things.
Yeah, because there has to be
Yeah.
a dynamic that they're understanding what you're doing, but you're not also at the same time, you're doing everything in spite of your own needs. You're helping everybody else, and that's so wonderful. But at the same time, you need somebody there to support you. So that's a great conversation to have with staff. And maybe
Yeah.
it's time to, if you're doing some of these trainings, that it's actually a training, that it can just be put up on the web page and people can see those and view them at any time instead of maybe waiting for evenings and stuff like that. Or maybe change it to a quarterly meeting where people can come ask you quarterly or bi-monthly a training instead of so many times during the month. You can still have office hours, but you can put those in a more specific time frame that allows you a little bit more flexibility and gives you that opportunity to self-impose your wellness.
And I think, Darren, you have provided some wonderful tools and wonderful nuggets that make us all think that, yes, we do need to let our staff partners know what we're doing, because sometimes our commitment and what we do, if they don't know, they can't help us to provide a balance. And I do like the idea of providing some trainings, videos perhaps that can be accessible and available to others so that that would free up Lori's time and others who do the same kind of work that Lori is doing. So thank you all. Two things that I noticed in common with what Mary Roberge said and what Darren said. Very simple, getting people together so that they can just talk. Because when we're volunteering, we're not able to talk to each other. We're not able to enjoy each other's company. We're not able to do that. And just the value that that adds to our lives, because I know that the volunteers that I have met are phenomenal people that I am in awe of the volunteers that I meet and what they do and who they are. And to be able to just spend, a half an hour just listening to them, it would just fill my cup. And that's simple, provide a little food and a little time. So, those two things, as simple as they are, you can see how meaningful they are. Kathy, I see you put something in the chat. Do you want to speak to it, or do you just want me to read it?
They're your words, Mary. So I know we're getting short on time, but Mary asks, one of her favorite things to do that's very powerful is go out and talk to groups and ask 3 questions, and make many of the points she's made today, which you are volunteers. What do you enjoy doing, right? What are you good at? And what do you prefer not to do? And the piece that this conversation added for me was, how's the balance of that? So Lori, that's where I hear your focus is on the balance. You're not unhappy with what you're doing. You're just realizing something is out of balance. And there may be times in your life when you would say, it's exactly right. I need this distraction right now. I want to let me go into that room and shut the door. That's cool. But the balance changes from moment to moment or time of life to time of life. So I think adding that balance piece in there is, thank you, Mary, for just this whole conversation with everybody, and Lori for bringing this up, because that feels like a really key word to me. Thanks.
Yeah. And I see Dennis put in Tennessee, we offer Portal Power Hour once a month for Portal questions, plus providing short training on different features. So that hour's worth of time certainly can focus it so that, Lori, you won't have to devote, a full day. And you can get some other things done too. So thank you, Dennis, for that suggestion. Deborah?
Well, as Kathy says, we're coming up on the end of our time. And I did want to point out again that the documents, we put both documents in the chat, and that whole person well-being for volunteers checklist that Mac put together is something that, Lori, you can even use periodically to check yourself and just make sure things are going where you want them to go. Yeah. You can use it with Teams and, the whole thing. So the materials are there. That's nice. The idea that we volunteer and then we volunteer and we work in isolation is a problem. We quite frequently, I'm finding people are volunteering because they thought they were going to develop a camaraderie with groups and a community, and we don't necessarily allow that to happen all the time. So for those of us who are leaders, which is everybody in this group, please, try to make sure, as Darren talks about, as Mary talks about, opportunities for people to relate to each other as people. We don't necessarily get a chance to do that. It's nice to do some work sitting at a booth by ourselves every once in a while, but we need a chance to relate to other members of our team, other members of our community. So thank you all.
And Deborah, I have just one more Mentimeter to share to kind of wind it down.
That's right.
We want to talk about that mental resilience, and mental resilience is part of self-care. So if you want to do the same thing that you did before, scan the QR code or go to menti.com and enter that code. What self-care practice do you do to relax and re-energize so that you can show up full force as a volunteer or as a staff, so that we can continue to do Ethel's work with pride, with pleasure, and making the community know that AARP not only feeds us, but provides wonderful things for them too as well.
Lori, I just wanted to add one other thing to what was said in terms of perfection, because many of us are perfectionists. We all want things done just right, and we don't really want to walk away from things until it's just right. But a slogan I've learned and that I try to keep reminding myself is progress, not perfection. As long as you're moving in the right direction, it does not have to be perfect.
That's
Thank you
wonderful.
very much.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that to be very helpful for me, especially in my weight loss journey.
Or as sometimes, and I'm facing that package of Sour Patch Kids. Oh gosh, choice or not. Progress. Thank you, Terry. That's great.
Thank you.
Oh, Lord.
Look at all these wonderful things that we
Mhm.
do in order to energize and relax.
Hey, I see a couple of people are playing the piano.
Yeah, playing
Mhm.
piano, listening to music,
Mhm.
walking,
Mhm.
glass of wine, slow stitching, reading, dancing. It's all good.
All right. All right.
Ah,
Okay. Let's see. Do we have one more comment? Oh, some put in that they danced. And it's like, yay, okay.
yeah.
And anyone wants to share piano music, I'm perfectly willing to send some out. I've got lots of it.
Ah,
Okay. Well, thank you all, because I don't want to keep you longer than we have said. I'm very grateful, of course, to Mac, who provided this information, even though she's not here. And I know we didn't do quite the wonderful job that she would have done, but we will get through this with everything. And you guys have just been wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Mary. Thank you.
can I leave us
BLDB.
all with one more quote?
One more?
One more. Dare to
All
love
right.
yourself as if you were a rainbow with gold at both ends. And that's from the poet Abirjani.
Repeat it
Okay.
again. Repeat it again.
There you go. There you go.
Dare to love yourself as if you were a rainbow with gold at both ends.
All right. Be wealthy.
Be a rainbow.
Oh, shucks. I was going for the wealth side. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mary. And thank you to each of you for coming today. Our topic next month is one that has been asked for, and it's navigating difficult conversations and redirecting volunteers constructively.
Mhm.
That is our May 12th topic. So I hope that you can join us then. We look forward to seeing you. Check out the portal. Materials will be there. Ask any questions you want at any time. We try to answer.
Okay. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Everyone, and happy
Take
National Volunteer Month.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Have a good
Bye.
afternoon, everyone.